Aloha, movie flicker pickers and podcast listeners. This is the Pic-a-Flic podcast, a series of film and sometimes TV done at partly rapid fire speed and partly rambling yapathons by your MC, the Western Wonder. This episode's review subject was decided a few weeks in advance. As you may know, or if not, let me be the first to put you on, the Mouse Company, aka Disney, has been on the road with their live-action remakes of animated content this past decade. You name the film and it's probably got a live-action counterpart released or in the works. Beauty and the Beast? Check. Aladdin?
Oh, that's hot.
Check once again.
That's hot.
The Lion King? I just saw Beyonce pause out someone for not being a diva last week. Moana? To be released next summer. Snow White?
Are you against me too? Are you? Yes or no?
Guards! How did she get back in the studio again? If you'd like to be a part of the Pic-a-Flic security team, please dial 1-800-99. All of those remakes are nothing in comparison to the upcoming release of the adorable little duo that is LILO and Stitch. I think it's best that I support my little blue cousin as Nicholas Mouse has been overworking him, or one of his Kang-like variants, throughout this promo campaign for the movie. From jumping out of popcorn buckets, which I hope he cleaned up, to scanning hundreds of moviegoers for seats at local theaters. I know my guy is a textbook definition of tired. So let's go back to the original source material that started it all back in the year of 2002. But first, let me get my nerd stats and facts out of the way if you don't mind. In the midst of reading up about production and other trivial things, I was surprised to learn that the origin of Stitch actually goes back to the mid-80s when Chris Sanders, the director, writer, animator, and voice actor behind our beloved blue guy, initially planned to make a kid's book revolving around him. But things never came to fruition with the project and was ultimately scrapped. By the early 90s, Sanders was working as an animator with Disney and a storyboard artist, and helped out with such films as Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King. After meetings on potential projects were had, and a green light was given as long as Sanders proved he was the one doing the animating, progress was started to be made on the Stitch project. The film went through some alterations, including Stitch being part of an alien space king at first, and the LILO counterpart initially being a boy character, as well as something else that was changed relatively last minute, but more on that when we get to that part of the film. Furthermore, the project was fully done in 2D animation instead of the computer animated form that was quickly starting to take court within the medium. Production went through smoothly enough that there was enough additional footage to be used for the final product, which was ultimately made for the epilogue of the movie. The movie released in theaters on June 21st, 2002, and to capitalize on the potential success of The Blue Kid, marketing was done in a unique fashion. I vividly remember seeing various DVDs that featured trailers where Stitch ended up crashing scenes from popular Disney movies of the 90s, including the aforementioned Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and The Little Mermaid, with the punchline of these promotional trailers being that Stitch was pretty much treated as an outsider or a black sheep, something that kind of takes place within the actual movie itself. Now, did these marketing efforts work in the company's favor? Well, yes. The movie was a box office success, grossing over $273 million worldwide over a budget of $80 million, and accolades soon followed. Getting nominated for Best Animated Feature at the Oscars, but lost to Spirited Away, which coincidentally features LILO's voice actress in the English dub of the film, and spawned several direct-to-video sequels, TV series, amusement park rides, and lots of merchandise. I myself had a Stitch Puzzy as a little jit once upon a time. Now, this was something that Disney needed at a time where recent projects were met with underwhelming box office returns. For every Tarzan level hit, there also may be an Atlantis the Lost Empire you may get. Underrated movie, by the way. But enough of the tidbits, let's dive into what takes place in LILO and Stitch.
Experiment 626. Give us some sign you understand any of this. Show us that there is something inside you that is good. Naughty!
Technically, there are two plots going on here, so I've assigned one as an A plot and the other as a B plot. The A plot is comical sci-fi grandeur that takes place in space. Jumba, voiced by David Ogden Stiers, is a mad scientist working under the Galactic Federation headquarters, or the GFH for short, and he's created a new experiment labeled 626, aka Stitch. Unfortunately, the Galactic Overseer sees him as too dangerous for the team and is therefore banishing him. But he escapes scot-free, and Jumba, with the assistance of whimsical flamboyant Agent Pic-a-Flic, voiced by Kevin McDonald, take off to planet Earth, Hawaii to be exact, to retrieve the wanted creature. Where he ends up in is where the B plot comes in. LILO, voiced by Davia Chase, is a young girl who struggles to fit in with other kids and comes off as a bit of an eccentric as evidenced in her early introductory scene.
Lilo, why are you all wet?
It's sandwich day. Every Thursday I take Pudge the fish a peanut butter sandwich.
Pudge is a fish.
And today we were out of peanut butter. So I asked my sister what to give him, and she said a tuna sandwich. I can't give Pudge tuna. Do you know what tuna is?
Fish?
It's fish! If I gave Pudge tuna, I'd be an abomination. I'm late because I had to go to the store and get peanut butter because all we have is stinking tuna!
Why is this so important?
Pudge controls the weather.
You know what? She's got a point. Hopefully her peers feel the same way.
You're crazy.
Or not.
Domestic violence.
After an intense spat with her older sister and guardian Nani, voiced by Tia Carrere, Lilo wishes for a new friend and literally anyone to bond with, and this is when Stitch, in disguise as a pet dog, comes into the picture. Despite Nani's understandable hesitance of adopting, Lilo takes a liking to him, and their adventures begin soon after. One of the biggest heart and soul aspects of this movie is the relationship between Lilo and Nani. Their dynamic is very realistic. While they may bicker and fight, at the end of the day they are a family who do the best that they can to be there for one another through thick and thin, one day at a time. Not to mention the aspect that the parents are no longer in the picture after a tragic event, which definitely adds to the emotional burden that both sisters are going through. For Lilo, this would explain her eccentric and wild demeanor, and for her older sister, she had to take on a hell of a lot of responsibilities and perhaps had to abandon her career in surfing, as many viewers speculated after a blink and miss a visual detail in the background of a scene. You could make a separate movie with these two without Stitch, exploring this dynamic further, and you would have had tissues surgically attached to you by how deep the theme of family can truly go.
I shouldn't have yelled at you.
We're sisters. It's our job.
Yeah, well, from now on.
I like you better as a sister than a mom.
Yeah?
And you like me better as a sister than a rabbit, right?
Oh. Yes. Yes, I do.
I hit Myrtle Edmonds today.
You hit her?
Before I bit her.
You bit her. Lilo, you shouldn't.
People treat me different.
They just don't know what to say.
This is probably one of Don Toretto's favorite movies, and no, I won't elaborate further. There is a particular parallel that can be drawn between the Lilo and Stitch duo, and that is the feeling of loneliness, something that Stitch explores as he feels a bit left out when seeing the two sisters or realizing that his chaos brings repercussions to those around him. And when there's heart, there is conflict in the A and B plots. Quite different from the usual Disney flick, there aren't any vicious antagonists as the ones depicted do their roles within reason. In the A plot, the colossal second-in-command Gantu also vows to destroy Stitch on the Councilwoman's orders and proves to be trouble in the climax of the film, just as much as Jumba is to Stitch throughout the film. Meanwhile, in plot B, you have caseworker Cobra Bubbles, voiced by Ving Rhames, which, let me be the first to say that, considering this guy's height and build combined with the silly name, I'd automatically think he's working with the feds.
You the police? Is you the LBI?
Something that I've always liked about the way this character is written, that while coming off as intimidating and extremely strict, he truly cares for Lilo's well-being, as that is, after all, what his role entails. All these pieces make for an extremely fun and insightful film. The animation styling, especially the Hawaiian backdrop, is something similar of a warm hug from a mother or father, and is ultimately pretty and colorful to look at. And we can thank the addition of watercolor style artwork for that. Then there's the space backdrop. A lot of unique characters stand out outside of Stitch, my beloved blue furball, and it's something that's further explored with creative flair in a TV show with different experiments being searched for. Now the humor, as prevalent with most kids' movies, can be hit or miss, but when it hits, it hits. I think the sequence that has always stood out to me is the scenes where Nani desperately tries finding work while Lilo and Stitch are giving tourists and townfolk top-tier entertainment, and some frights. It's always been a standout for how cookies things really get in this universe. Another thing to notice the music here. You have 50% beautiful Hawaiian score that really gets into the culture of things, and 500% Elvis. I never really quite got the connection that this was a fixation until later. Anyways, I think that this film was my first proper introduction to Presley before reading up on his career and history, which is a lot to get into here, but flaws aside, he had bangers. Suspicious Minds is certified diamond in my playlist. Everything for the most part in this movie lands. You got the heart, the vibes, and the soul. Yet one thing that feels a bit underbaked at the end, that is the climax of the film. Now remember how I said that something in the story was changed last minute? Well, this is that moment. The climax initially revolved around Jumba, Pic-a-Flic, Nani, and Stitch hijacking a plane to rescue Lilo with crashing buildings during the mission, but as we all know, something happened months prior that changed it. Can you remind us on what that was, Miss Carey?
No. Well, you don't want to hear about 9/11.
Precisely. Thank you very much. So, good call on changing it up. Instead, we do get a safer mission, and at the end, Stitch is forgiven by the GFH after proving that he isn't too threatening for society.
This is my family. I found it all on my own. It's little and broken, but still good. Yeah, still good.
The story ends on a happy note as the family home is repaired and the element of togetherness grows stronger with everybody. The end. Still, after watching this movie years ago as a youngin', it holds up impressively well. It's one of those quintessential Disney comfort movies that's always good to revisit when you don't want to watch something newer. The animation is vibrant, the characters are fun, and the theme of family is always and forever timeless. And admittedly, the live action remake that's coming out, on my birthday no less, does pique my interest. While the CGI I've seen ranges from appealing to some of the whimsy and spirit seems to be present from the trailers I've seen, so it looks somewhat promising. We shall see when the time comes if it holds out to me, which I'm sure it'll be a sizable hit for Nicholas and friends. Can't wait for the thunderstorm of discussions when LILO drops in a few weeks and the marketing isn't up to par with his box office returns. We've seen how that's happened with original stories before. Strange world. That about wraps up this episode. Now next up on the pod, a scene-by-scene retrospective review for Madagascar, celebrating its 20th anniversary this month, and more to come down the line for June. If you'd like to be among the first to get notifications of when the reviews and episodes drop, be sure you subscribe to the pod wherever you listen to said shows, and hey, tell a friend to tell another to check out the show. All support and feedback is appreciated. If you're listening on YouTube and you enjoyed this episode, make sure you smash that like button, you comment, subscribe, you know the drill. And also, if you want to follow the show on social media, we can be found on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok under the username handle at Pic-a-Flic Pod. That is at PICAFLICPOD. If review logging is your thing, then you may be familiar with Letterboxd, where you can also find non-audio exclusive reviews that I do under the aforementioned Pic-a-Flic Pod username. So be sure to follow me there if you use that platform. Once again, thank you all for tuning for this episode, and until the next, this is the Western Wonder, and I'm signing out. Aloha. Or, is that how you say goodbye? Gosh. Peace.
Bye, have a great time.